and welcome back to my YouTube channel, where I show you how to make easy bake recipes so then you don't have to get your head stuck in a cookbook. Today we are going to be making an easy bake pumpkin pie. Let's get started. So as always, we're going to start with our dough, as we started with in the last time I made a pie. I'm going to start by wiping out my pie bowl. I'm going to set that back aside. Then you're going to want to get your dough. Gotta get rid of the flour. Then you gotta get your rolling pin. And then you're gonna wanna roll it out to where it's gonna fit into your bin, or whatever you wanna call it. I call it a bin for some reason. Or your pie bowl. I go a bunch of different ways. I tend to switch it around every time I get to a certain angle. I tend to like to make it even. Sometimes it gets a little uneven. You gotta make it to the size that you think is right for your pie dish. Maybe test it a couple times to see where you're getting. If you do have some extra, you can either smooth it back and re-roll, or you can take the excess off and no biggie. I am going to test it. I like to do it pizza style. I am about halfway there. So then I will set it back down. Set that back aside. And bring it back. Try to roll it out as far as you can, according to the size you think of estimating of your pie dish. I am going to bring this up further though. Okay, I'm going to test it once over. Again, I like pizza style. Okay, not quite there yet, but we're getting there. I'm going to set it aside again. Bring it up pizza style. And bring it in. Now that is what I call a perfect crust. And then I'm going to put it in. I do have some overlapping section, so I will bring this off and maybe I'll eat it later. I'm going to fix some edges that got a bit off looking. And we'll make sure it is perfect and there is no air bubbles. Okay, there are no more air bubbles, so you can set your pie crust aside. Then we're gonna bring over the bowl. Now, of course, my favorite, wipe out the bowl before use. You don't get any germs or maybe if it's no bowl, dust in your food. So first, we need a can of pumpkin puree. I am going to use a spatula to get this out. And then I'll take a smaller one to get the rest out. After you get it all out, you can set your stuff aside. You will not need any more pumpkin. So, let me just wipe off my things real quick. Next, you need a can of sweetened condensed milk. Again, I will use this spatula thing to get it all out. You're going to use all of it. All right. I'm going to wipe that off real quick. You will not need any more condensed milk. So next, we need 2 eggs. They can be large. They have to be large, really. They just call them large eggs. But really, they're just normal eggs. Go ahead and crack them into your bowl. Make sure you didn't get any eggshells. I'm gonna wipe off my hands real quick before we continue. My hands are a bit sticky from the condensed milk. You will not need any more eggs after those 2. We have 3 more ingredients. 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And in advance, make sure you set your oven. I guess that's 1. I don't know how that happened. Make sure to set your oven for 425 for 15 minutes and then cook it again at 350 for 35 to 40 minutes. I'd recommend setting it for 35. But if it doesn't look good at 35, set it for another 5 minutes and let it cook for 40. Next is ground ginger. You need a half a teaspoon. We're not going to do the same thing we did last time. A half a teaspoon of ground ginger. Really, there would be 4 more ingredients, as I said, but this one is optional. Again, there is an optional amount of a half a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. I do not use that because my sister says it just makes it a little bit more, it adds just a little more spice, and she doesn't like the extra spice. So I am not going to use that, but if you prefer it, then go ahead, a half a teaspoon. And then lastly, we need a half a teaspoon of salt. Alright, so that's all your ingredients. I'm going to use a whisk. But if you prefer like a mixer or wooden spoon, then you do you. I'm going to pause it for this part, and then I will be back when all of this is mixed. Alright, so I am done mixing. Your mix of items that I have shown you should be around this color. It should be like a light orange, kind of like one of those like dreamsicle colors, I should say. So it should look like this. Next, you're gonna bring your beautiful pie crust back over. If you like, you can like make the sides like I'm gonna do so. Only in some spots though. You just pinch the two sides together to create a look of that. And it'll give it a cool effect. So just keep doing this and repeating it all the way around your pie until you make it back to the other side, of course. Now, just a heads up, my pie making day and all that might be changing from Saturday to Sunday for posting because I might start to be selling at a farmer's market. So, just a heads up. Next, you're going to take your bowl. I'm going to rest mine up against me like I always do. Take a big spatula and maneuver it to where it dumps into your pie dish. Now I'm gonna set it down and I'm gonna flip it over, bring everything to the end to where it's all together. Might get messy at some points, but hey, I am gonna wipe off the little extra that got on my edges. And then after I do that, I'll take a smaller one and I will smooth it out. To where it's good. So this is what it should look like after cooking. And then, again, to remind you, 425 for 15 minutes. And then you're going to want to reset your oven to 350 for 35 to 40 minutes. Remember, only set it for 35 minutes at 350. Because if one time when I tried to bake it at 40, it burned a bit. So if you don't think it looks good enough, it doesn't look cooked enough at 35 minutes, set it for another 5 minutes at 350. All right, I will see you when it is done. And this is how the pumpkin pie turned out. Yours should look about the same because we used exactly the same ingredients, unless you use the nutmeg. Yeah. Next week, I'll have to figure out what I'm gonna make. But this week, we made a pumpkin pie. Thank you for watching, and tune back in next week for a new recipe of Do Not Get Your Head Stuck in a Cookbook.